Hello firearms friends, Joel Colander here again for Rock Island Auction Company. I'm here to show you something today, if you're watching this on the day it comes out, of something coming up tomorrow during our May 13th, 14th, 15th Premier Firearms Auction. I'm going to show you something coming up on day 2, that is May 14th, and I'm going to show you a horse of a little bit different color, because it's not every day that a Remington Wingmaster 870 shows up at a Premier Firearms Auction, right? Our Premier Firearms Auctions, as you can see, are for world-class high-end collectibles. And of course, Wingmaster 870 is a pretty common gun. It's a pretty low-cost gun, but insanely popular, of course. They've been around since 1950, and they have just been producing them en masse because they're so popular. Over 11 million, according to most sources, which in sporting arms puts it pretty high towards the top, just short of the Marlin Model 60 for some of the most produced sporting arms of all time. So it's everywhere. It's not going anywhere. And since, of course, 1950, you've been able to find them in use not only by sportsmen, but by law enforcement groups and the military. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. And that is our Remington 870 Wingmaster Mark I. And I wasn't lying when we said it was a Wingmaster of a different color with this distinct Parkerized finish, but we'll get there in a second. Now, a military contract for Remington shotguns shouldn't really come as a surprise to any of us. They've been supplying the U.S. government with shotguns since the Great War. They had the Model 10, which was scarcely used, granted, but still a military contract. They also had the Model 11, which most of us are more familiar with as the Browning A5, but a Remington gun nonetheless. So the 870 Wingmaster Mark I comes into the foray with a U.S. Marine Corps contract, March 13th, 1969. They purchased 3,231 of them, and to the tune of $76.40 a piece. They are an animal unto their own. Like I said, they stand out from across the room. When you walk by this, you know it's not a regular Wingmaster, and most of it's due to this wonderful Parkerized finish, or Parco-Lubrite, as the government contract says. Very matte, very gray compared to our standard finish 870, of course. From stem to stern, we start out with a 23-inch barrel. Here you can see we have an extended magazine tube on the size. You have a 7+1 capacity of 12 gauge, naturally. You notice a distinct lack of heat shield, kind of in contrast to other combat shotguns or trench shotguns. Also very specifically called out in the military contracts. Like, we don't want a perforated heat shield. So, like, don't put that on our shotguns. The lack of heat shield, of course, allows for the presence of rifle sights. So if you wanted, your 870 Mark I was capable of firing slugs and doing so a little more accurately than just your Sands rifle sights. Big old bayonet lug on the front, of course, very, very visually compelling. Does accept an M7 bayonet, so the same bayonet as the M16. And the wood is actually quite distinct also from your commercial pattern 870s. I won't say it's coarse, I won't say it's gritty, because it's not, but it's also not the super fine polish or sanding job that a commercial 870 might get. There's a nice texture to it, and it's very distinct, especially with kind of the tough military Parco-Lubrite finish. You have this big beefy bayonet lug. You have this wood that's not quite as finished as a commercial version. And at the end of it, you got a pretty mean looking Wingmaster. I mean, it's definitely, I don't want to call it a makeover, but the thing looks tough. Now, there are also a lot of later M70 riot guns, but they're an even shorter barrel, I believe a 20-inch barrel. They don't have the rifled sights, and of course, they don't fall into the very specific serial number range that your M870 Mark I's fall into. So they're sort of an entity all on their own. Still very collectible riot guns, but they are not the super, super rare military contract Wingmaster 870 Mark I's. Now, how rare are they? Well, it's funny you should ask. The man who literally wrote the book, Combat Shotguns, Mr. Bruce Canfield, says that, of course, there's 3,231 that were produced, but there were none actually sold or made available to the public. So how this one came into the public, we will leave to your imagination. But we did have the pleasure of selling one in last May's Premier Firearms Auction in 2021. It sold for $14,950. So slightly more expensive than your off-the-shelf 870 Express. And now, just so you can all say you've heard a $15,000 shotgun cock today, there you go. It's on day 2. It's our May premiere firearms auction. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until tomorrow's video, keep your powder dry.